Welcome to our tutorial of Proflan YouTube channel. In this particular video, we're going to have a discussion of paper 2H of May-June exams. So we're going to look at different ways you can be able to approach this paper and different questions that can be asked there. So looking at this, we need to see that one of the questions that was tested here is to simplify. So as preparing for that exam, you need to prepare how to answer question to do with simplify involving indices. And of course, you can also be given question to do with fraction powers. So you need to understand how to work out those kind of questions. And in case you have questions which have negative powers, you need to remember that for that case, you need to find the reciprocal of whatever that is inside the bracket in order to get rid of the particular negative power. So that is exactly what you're supposed to do. So we're going to have a detailed discussions on how you can be able to approach various questions, various topics which can be tested. We are going also to look at function. We shall look at also how to solve algebraic fractions. And of course, you remember that here you need to find the LCM, and then you need to proceed like that by multiplying the LCM both sides, putting the like terms together in order to get your marks. If you're new to Proflan YouTube channel, consider subscribing so that anytime I'm going to do other tutorials, you'll be notified. I've added a link of inside under this tutorial. I've added a link in the description which can enable you to go straight to the Patreon page where you can be able to download our PDF. All right, so basically that's what we are going to look at. And if you are new to Proflan, consider subscribing. Let's dive in so that we can be able to get started. That we have there. So question to do with rationalizing denominators, question to do with surds is a question that we are cocksure that that question probably will be tested. We are sure that you can be given a question on surds, so you need to prepare on how to work out question with surds. And if you have a challenge, I believe this question has shown you that in order to solve this, in order to work out this, those are the stages that you need to follow. Right. Moving to the next part, we need to look at also the next question. So this one is also trying to check whether you've understood how to solve questions which are like this. We are given 9a minus 7 over 5 minus 3a minus 7 over 4 is equals to 4.55. So the LCM of 5 and 4 is basically 20. So we are going to express this as a single fraction. So it will be, this 4 will be multiplied to that, the two terms which are there. And this 5 will be multiplied to these two terms. And then we open the bracket so that we can be able to put the like terms together. And that is going to give us what? Is going to give us 21a plus 7 is equals to 91. And then if we take the 7 on the other side, we are going to subtract, and we shall have 21a is equals to what? 84. Then if we divide by 21 both sides, we are going to have this cancel out. 21 goes to 84 4 times, and then we shall have 4 as the answer for that particular part. A is equals to 4. So if you are to prepare, ensure you know how to work out those kind of questions. I need to say that if you are new to Proflan YouTube channel, if this is the first time you are joining Proflan YouTube channel, you need to check in our description. There is a Patreon page we call Proflan, where you get the PDF, where you get these papers that we have here, so that you can be able to download them for free. And as you are preparing for this particular exam, I wish you, all of you guys, all the best in this coming exam. As you are preparing, good luck as you are preparing, so that you do well, and then we shall do together A levels. Those who are going to join A levels will be here, right? So apart from solving equations, another area that I want you to prepare for that exam is questions to do with making subject of the formula. So if you don't know how to make subject, it's high time you follow on how to make subject. So if we're making C the subject, the formula, it means we want to rearrange this equation, we want to rearrange this formula so that we have C on one side and all the variables, all the terms on the other side. So that we are going to start by writing this part on this side, and then since there is a square, we are going to square both sides so that this square and the square root will cancel out, and then we are going to remain with AC plus 8 over C 3 plus C is equals to P squared. Then we are going to multiply the denominator both sides so that we can see these two will cancel out, and then we shall have AC is equals to P squared into 3 plus C, so which means that this is going to be what? 3P squared, and if you multiply here we shall have P squared plus C. And then in that case, which means that we are going to put the like terms together. Those which have C, we're going to put them on one side, and in this case what I'm going to say is we have to ensure, because if I've opened the brackets, you can see this having C and this term is having C. So I'll take this term to the other side so that and also 8 on this side, so that I can have AC minus P squared C, and then is equals to 3P squared minus 8. So when I have that, I can be able to factorize. This C is common, so I can factor out C. I remain with A minus P squared. Then I divide by A minus P squared both sides, and I will have my expression as C is equals to 3P squared minus 8 over A minus P squared. Now we have made C the subject of the formula, and to set up some of the software I'm using in order to ensure that your lesson goes on well uninterrupted. And I believe now I've really fixed it, so we can be able to move on a bit faster and in a better way. Okay. Yes, question 2. Now going back to question 2. Going back to question 2, and question 2 is about about SATs. Already we have said how to make subject. We have dealt with that. Let me just look, where is question 2? Question 2 guys here. No, not this one. Yes, so this one also. Now for those guys who have issues to do with SATs, I believe this is the next part we are going to look at. This is indices. You find the reciprocal, because there's a negative. We said there you are going to have what? You have to put a reciprocal. You have to do the reciprocal of that so that you can be able to now say 2 over y raised to power 4. Moving down, the next part was to do with algebraic fractions, and we say that that one you are going to express as what? A single fraction, and you are going to express it in terms of the LCM of the denominator, or you can decide and multiply all through by 4, then you multiply all through by 3, and then you put the like terms together, and that is gonna give you what? Gonna give you the solution to that. I believe I'm not going faster. I'm going to the pace that you are able to understand. So also we need to look at after this question, we also we were able to look at question number 2, and we said in question 2, which is 4 plus 38, to work out that question, what you need to realize, you need to find the conjugate, and the conjugate is the opposite sign of whatever you have at the denominator, and in this case we are having what? 32 minus 1, so the conjugate is 32 plus 1, which is going to be multiplied at the denominator, and also we shall multiply that conjugate at the numerator. So we are going to expand and then multiply the two brackets together in the numerator and denominator. So in this case, 4 times 32 at the numerator, 4 times root 2 is going to be 4 root 2. It's going to be 4 root 2. 4 times 1, that's going to give us 4, right? Then root 8 times root 2 is going to be root 16. And root 8 times 1 is going to give us what? Root 8 over root 2 into root 2 plus 1. So we are going to say root 2 times root 2 is going to give us positive 2. Root 2 times 1 is going to give us root 2, and minus 1 times root 2 is going to give us what? Minus 1 times root 2 is going to give us minus root 2. Then minus 1 times positive 1 is going to give us then we are going to have minus 1 times positive 1 is going to give us minus 1. And then now we are going to simplify whatever we have here. We shall have 4 root 2 plus 2 root 2 is going to give us 4 root 2 plus 2 root 2 is going to give us 6 root 2 plus 8 over 1. And this is going to translate to 6. That is 8 plus 6 root 2 as our final answer. So basically, that's what you are supposed to do in that particular question. And I believe now, Crimson Vortex, you are you've understood on how to work out that particular question. If there's any question, we can be able to. Oh, sorry. No one is watching. Oh, Ayan, Sayan. No worries. If Ayan, Sayan, you are watching, I'm glad you are here. I'm happy you are there. If one person benefits, that's great. I know other guys will come and watch this live thereafter. So there's no harm. We can just proceed. All right. Moving to the next question. Here we are having making subject of the formula. Of course, I mentioned here that you are going to, because we're having a square, we are going to square both. We're having a square root, we're going to square both sides, so that we can be able to remove the square root, multiply both sides by 3 plus c. We are going to get rid of the fraction or the denominator, and then we shall now have ac plus 8 is equals to 3p squared plus p squared c. Yeah, so that we can now since we have those terms which have c on both sides, we are going to put those terms with c on one side, so that we can be able to factor them to we can be able to factor c out, and in this case we shall have minus 8. So we are going to divide both sides by a minus p squared, so that we can be able to remain with c on one side. This cancelling out, we shall have our final answer as c is equals to 3p squared minus 8 over a minus p squared as our final answer. So by so doing, we have made actually c the subject of the formula. Another area that is important for you to prepare is to simplify expressions like this. And something that you need to realize at this given point is that this kind of questions you need to factorize. Basically is you are expected to do factorization, and when you factorize, you are going to have those expressions that which will cancel out. Yeah, so we are having 6x cubed plus 13x squared minus 5x over 8x squared minus 25. So with that, we are going to do what? We are going to factor out x in the numerator. We shall factor out x so that we remain with 6x squared plus 13x minus 5. Once we have remained with that, and at the denominator also we can see this is a difference of 2 squares, so we can be able to factor out, we can be able to express that as, also if you look at whatever we have at 6x squared plus 13x minus 5, you will realize that we can be able to factor this using sum and product. So two numbers whose sum is 13x and whose product is negative 30. The two numbers are 15 and 2, but we have to have one of the number negative, so that 15 times negative 2 will give us negative 30. 15 plus 2 is able to give us 13. So we are going to express the middle term in terms of the two numbers, and then we shall factorize that expression. Factorizing that expression basically is going to translate to what? It's going to translate to 2x plus 5 into 3x minus 1. So whatever we have there, we can be able to now express that it as factorized form. And then the denominator, which is 4x squared minus 25, can factorize to 2x minus 5 times 2x plus 5. With that, we can be able to cancel this part, and the final expression becomes x into 3x minus 1 over 2x minus 5 as our final answer in that particular case. Any question up to that point? Ayan said, are you doing IGCSE? Are you doing the exam? Yeah, please like the live. Let me know from which country you are coming from. I come from Kenya. Yeah, so let me know whether you are also going to sit for this exam. Yeah, so I appreciate Ayan for you being here. We can proceed. Moving further, let's see which other topic that is going to take precedence, so we can be able to transfer the remaining expression at this point just to make the examiner happy. Yeah, so moving further, you can be tested algebraic, how to form algebraic equations and solving them. And you can see here we are having a triangle whose one of the angle is 30 degrees, another angle is 4x plus 10, and we have x plus 20. What do you think we're going to do in order to work out the value of x? In order to find the value of x, you are going to add all the angles and say equals to 180 degrees, because angles in a triangle add up to 180. So we are going to use that knowledge. We shall say 30 plus 4x plus 10 plus x plus 20 should be equal to 180 degrees. Then we're going to put the like terms together so that we can be able to solve for x. And in this case, we're going to have 5x plus 60 is equals to 180. Yeah, 180 then we can be able to take 60 on the other side. It's a positive, so it will be minus. So you have to be very careful when you are going to do such kind of questions. Don't make mistakes when you are taking numbers on the other side of the equal sign, because those are the errors that will make students get wrong questions which they could have gotten and scored. So if we do x divide 120 divide by 5, this is going to translate to 24. Yeah, 24. Yeah, so we shall have our answer as 24. Our x is equals to 24 degrees, and we shall now have to write it here so that we can be able to move to the next question. The next question that you must be very keen now is how to find upper and lower bounds of a formula that is provided. For instance, we are told that G is equals to C over 2F minus 3H, C equals to 8, which is written to the nearest whole number. R is 6.62 correct to 2 decimal places. So in that case, to the nearest whole number here, for C, we need to mention what is the absolute. Yeah, what is the absolute error? In this case, because it's to the nearest whole number, a whole number from one whole number to the next, the smallest value there is 1, right? So the absolute error there will be 1 divided by 2, so it will be, is going to be what? Plus or minus 0.5. But for you to find the lower bound of G lower bound, how do you go about it? You are going to say G lower bound is going to be C lower bound divided by the upper bound of F, the upper bound of F minus the lower bound of H. Why am I saying this? If you want to have G small, you have to have the denominator to be as a maximum value. So G lower bound is going to be C lower bound divided by F lower bound, upper bound minus H lower bound. So we need to have get the bounds now, upper and lower bounds of those variables that we have there, and this is going to be C is going to be plus or minus 0.5. And the reason as why I've said that is because the smallest unit for a whole number is 1. Whole number, smallest unit is 1. Then to get absolute error, you take that smallest unit divided by 2, which is going to be 0.5. Now, correct to 2 decimal places, the smallest unit is going to be 0.01. Correct to 2 decimal places. Absolute error will be that smallest unit divided by 2, which is going to be 0.005. 1 decimal place, the smallest unit is 0.1. To get the absolute error there, we take the smallest unit divided by 2, which is going to be 0.1 divided by 2, which is going to be 0.05. So we need C lower bound, so we shall take the absolute error, subtract 8 subtract 0.5. This is going to translate to G lower bound is going to be 7.5. We want F upper bound, so it's going to be 6.62 plus 0.005, so that we get the upper bound. So it will be 2 times the upper bound of F and 3 times the lower bound of H. So if we are going to simplify that, we are going to have our expression reducing to this, and now we are going to bang that to our calculator. We put inside the calculator, and our answer is going to translate to 0.765 as the lower bound of G, and we shall transfer it down here to make the examiner happy. All right, so we need to move down to the next part. The diagram shows a solid prism, and we are supposed to, this is 3D, figures, you are supposed to work out the angle formed by AJ and the base. So in this particular question, whereby we are supposed to find the angle formed between the base, which is ABHG, and the line AJ, what you need to do here is that you need to so in order to work out this question, something we're going to do is to ensure that we are able to find the height. Yeah, so we need to find the height. So we shall start by drawing the straight line joining E and C. So E and C is going to be 2x, but a half of that is going to be x. But angle DEC is equivalent to 30 degrees because we are told AED is 120, but the angle below, the angle AEC is going to be equivalent to 90 degrees because this is a rectangle, right? So the upper angle, which is CED, is going to be 130 degrees. It's going to be 30 degrees. Okay, I need to be very clear on that. That angle AED is 120. All of this angle is 120. Then if we draw a straight line from E to C, we are going to have the lower angle, which is AEC, to be 90 degrees. Then angle CED is going to be 30 degrees. So we can be able also to draw a using the slant. The slant height JI is 8, DC is going to be 8, DE is also going to be 8 centimeters. Then we can be able to draw a straight line for this part here. So which means that if this line AB is 2x, then EC is also going to be 2x, then a half of 2x is going to be x. Because that's 90 degrees at this point, we can say this is going to be, for instance, M. Then this we shall use SOHCAHTOA so that we can use a right angle triangle EMD, and then we can use SOHCAHTOA in order to find the missing sides. So since we have ED equals to 8 centimeters, we can be able to find the base x. We can be able to find x. So this is hypotenuse and adjacent. So this is going to be cos 30 degrees is equals to adjacent over hypotenuse, trigonometry, SOHCAHTOA, right? So we are going to say this is going to be x is going to be equals to 8 cos 30. Yeah, so that if we put it in the calculator, we are going to get our answer equivalent to 4√3 as exact form. So EM is going to be 4√3. So therefore we have known what the value of x is. Then we can be able to again find the height. So our x AE is going to be 4√3 because AE is x, and then we can now use again SOHCAHTOA to find the height, DM, and that is opposite to 30 degrees, and the hypotenuse 8 centimeters. So we are going to use sine theta, which is sine 30 is equals to opposite of hypotenuse in that case, and therefore we can be able to say so we are going to say that sine 30 degrees is equals to 130 sine 30 degrees is equals to opposite, which is h of hypotenuse, which is 8. So h is going to be equals to 8 sine 30. So if we put that in the calculator, we are going to get our answer equivalent to 4 centimeters. So the height of this part MD is 4 centimeters, but remember we are supposed to calculate the angle formed by AJ we're going to calculate the angle formed by AJ and the base ABHG of the prism. So we're going to draw, let me just move it down here so that we can be able to make the examiner happy, and at the same time we can be able to make our work neat and well arranged. So we're going to draw a straight line right from where A is. All right, so I'll not use this. I'll not use that. No. I have to use AJ. Then I'll join another straight line to the midpoint of CH, the middle point of CH, and then I can be able to form a right angle triangle A, that point, this point here, and J. So I will have this point, a right angle triangle here, and then of course from here I can be able to find it because I can call that N, isn't it? So that we have a triangle ANJ, but from A to N we can be able to use Pythagoras theorem in order to find that. So we shall say AN is going to be equals to square root of AG, but AG is 12, so it will be 12 squared plus 4 root 3 squared, 4 root 3 squared, so that from this point to that point, so it's going to be this side here is the one that is 4 root 3, so that I can be able to find the hypotenuse AN. So if I work it out, I'm going to get my answer equivalent to what? If I work it out, it will be 8 root 3. So we shall have 8 root 3 there, and then the height of this is going to be 4 plus 4 root 3, because this is 4 root 3 and the height I'd gotten it to be 4, so it will be 4 plus 4 root 3, and then we can be able now to find the angle theta there using tan. Theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. Opposite is 4 plus 4 root 3. Adjacent is the 8 root 3 that we've got, and if you work out this angle, you're going to get the angle which is going to be about 38 degrees. That if tan inverse of whatever we have inside the bracket, we are going to have our angle as 38.3 degrees as the angle formed by AJ and the base of this particular figure. We need to move our answer here, and then I'll have 38.3 degrees as the angle formed. Moving to the next part, the next area that you have to prepare as far as major exams is concerned is the concept of direct and inverse proportions. These are questions that whereby you are expected to work out maybe the to state the formula of two variables. For instance, we're told A is inversely proportional to the square of R, inversely proportional to the square of R. So how are we going to write this expression? A is inversely proportional, so we are going to introduce a constant K, and since it's inverse, so we shall say K over the square of R squared. Then you can see here we are given A equals to 5 and R is equal to 0.3. So we are going to substitute those variables, the values that we are given there, so that we can be able to find the value of K. And remember to square the way they are saying, and our value of K is going to be 5 times 0.09, and that's going to translate to 0.45. That is the value of K. Then since we are supposed to find the formula of A in terms of R, we are going to write the formula A equals to K. With the exact value of K here, we shall have our answer as A is equals to 0.45 over what? 0.45 over R squared. And basically that is how you are supposed to do such questions. And in the event they want you to use that formula that we have stated there, you are going to do that in part B. And we're supposed to find the value of A when R is 7.5A. So which means any point where we have R, we are going to substitute 7.5A. into this formula that we have obtained, and then we shall now square that part, and that is going to become what? We shall multiply both sides by the denominator so that we can be able to put the like terms together here, and that is going to translate to a cubed is equal to 0.45 over 56.25. And if you work it out by finding the cube roots, both sides, we're going to get our value of a translating to 1 over 5, which is the same as 0.2 as the value of a in that case. Another prominent topic that is likely to be tested is the concept of circle theorem. I can see Wiz is asking whether this is GCSE. This is Igcse Edexcel. GCSE will be coming up probably tomorrow. We shall be doing GCSE paper 2 H, and also we shall do paper 2F. So this is GCSE. So if you are doing GCSE, you need to join us tomorrow. You join us tomorrow so that we can be able to have a discussion of GCSE. All right, so we're going to move further. We are going to move further to the next part, and in this case, we're going to look at circle theorem. We are told that P, Q, R, S, and T are points on the circle with center O, and then we are supposed to work out the value of N. We are supposed to work out the value of M. So something that you need to remember here is that M is angle on the circumference, and 124 is the angle subtended at the center. So in order to find the value of M here, we are going to say M is 124 divided by 2, which is going to translate to 62 degrees, right? Yeah, 124 divided by 2 is going to give us 62 degrees. And in this case, we need to write it there. So we shall write that N is going to be opposite angles of a cyclic quadrilateral add up to 180. That is how we are going to find the value of N, because we have gotten the other side to be 62, so N plus 62 should give us 180. Opposite angles of a cyclic quadrilateral property is what we have used in this particular case, and that's going to translate to 180 minus 62, which is going to translate to 118 degrees in that case. Yeah, so basically we say that this angle is 62, the other angle here is going to be 118. All right, so something else that we need to remember, we are supposed to find the size of angle QPO. So let's go on the diagram. So OPQ is an isosceles triangle. So this angle, these two base angles are equal. So this is 180 minus 124, which is going to translate to 180 minus 124, which is translate to yeah, so let's check that. Is that true? 180 minus 124, this angle is 56 degrees. This is 56, and this is an isosceles triangle, so this angle that we have here and this one, those two angles are equal. So we can say 180 minus 56, which is going to be 124. Therefore angle QPO is equals to 124 divided by 2, which is going to translate to 62 degrees. So the two base angles of that isosceles triangle should be 62 degrees, and that angle QPO is 62 degrees, and we transfer it there so that we can be able to make the examiner happy up to that particular point. Welcome Shishan Khalid. Yeah, so welcome. Glad you've joined us. Yeah, so I recommend downloading an online calc where you can be able to see it as well. All right, so I'll consider doing that. It's only that I only have the physical one, so if I want to plug in, I'll be able to show you there. Yeah, but I believe when you are in our life, you can be able to be having your calc, so that if I'm saying we plug in to divide 124 divided by 2, you can be able to do it with me, so that we can be able to move together. Otherwise, that's great. I may not know how I can be able to integrate. Maybe you can write in the comment section how I can be able to integrate the online calculator, so that I can be able to use it with OBS. I see whether we can be able to have it. Otherwise, great. All right, so moving on to the next part, let's see the next question. The next question, we are told that Team A and Team B take part in a quiz league. After 11 rounds, Team A has a mean score of 17. So, which means at that given point, what we are going to do is to find the total points that have been scored after 11 rounds. So, to do that, we are going to take 11 times 117, so that we can be able to get the total number of points at that given point. So it will be for Team A, we are going to say 11 times 17, and that's going to be 187. And also we shall do the same for Team B. Yeah, so I need to do that for Team B, which is 9, because after 9 rounds, Team B was having 118 points. So if we multiply, we get 162. Now, both teams take part in a further round, another round, extra round, and the mean is going to be, for A is going to be 18.5. Yeah, both of them is going to be 18.5, and for B is going to be 18.5. Now, if they're going to take a further round, it means for Team A, we're going to have 12 rounds, and it's going to have a mean of 18.5. So to get the next extra round, we are going to say now for the extra, the further, it will be 18.5 times 12, because now they had taken part in 11 rounds plus 1 round, it will be 12. So it will be 18.5 times 12, and that's going to give us a total of 222. For Team B, after the next after 9 rounds, it's going to be 10 rounds, so it will be 18.5 times basically 10, so that's going to be 185 also in that case. Yeah, 185. So if we find the difference for 222 minus 118, here we shall have, what's the difference? Yeah, so if we take now 222 minus 185, we are going to get our answers 37. Yeah, so also that is 37. 187 minus 162, that's going to translate also to 25. Then now to get how many more points Team B scored than Team B, we are going to say now 37 minus 25, which is going to translate to 12 points. 12 points. So basically, that's what we are going to do in that particular question. So it will be 37 minus 25, and that's going to be 12 more points. So Team A scored 12 more points in that case. Yeah, so I believe we are together up to that point. This is a question to do with composite function. At the same time, you are supposed to solve a quadratic inequality. So let us look at how you are supposed to approach it. You are told that f of x is equal to x squared minus 4, g of x is 2x plus 1. So at this point of time, we need to realize that in order to Okay, this is the further round that we are talking about. So let me move to this. F of g of x can be written is greater than 0, but we are going to say f of, what's g of x? G of x is 2x plus 1. So f 2x plus 1 is greater than 0. So meaning, in order to have g f of x, where we have x in the function of x, we are going to substitute 2x plus 1. So our expression is going to be 2x plus 1 squared minus 4 is greater than 0. Then you can be able to expand whatever we have inside the bracket so that you put the like terms together, we shall have a quadratic equation. So one way you can be able to approach it alternatively is by expanding whatever that we have in the bracket. Then we shall say it will be 4x squared plus 4x plus 1, then minus 4 is greater than 0, which is going to reduce to 4x squared plus x minus 3. X minus 3 is greater than 0. So we can be able to solve these quadratic inequalities. Another way we could have done it is, of course, for you to solve the quadratic inequality, what you're going to do is to solve the quadratic equation, then you shall put the inequalities later. I'm going to show you how to go about that. Another way you could have also done this question alternatively is by just taking this 2x plus 1 squared minus 4, you equate that to 0, and so that we can be able to take the 4 on the other side of the equal sign, and then we find the square root both sides like that, and then we shall have 2x plus 1 is equals to plus all minus 2. Then we shall take the 1 on the other side so that we shall have 2x minus 1 plus or minus 2 over 2. Our x will be having two answers. X is equals to what? Negative 2, 3 over 2, or x is equals to negative positive 1 over 2. Then we can be able now to say, we can draw that on a number line because we were solving a quadratic inequality. So we shall have our roots there. And if we expand that, you are going to have a quadratic equation with a coefficient of a, which is positive. So it's going to open upwards like that. But we want greater than 0. So we want the region above the line. The region above the line. So we are going to say our x will be less than negative 3 over 2. X will be less than negative 3 over 2. All x will be greater than positive 1 over 2 as the answer for this particular question. So you need to prepare. Yeah, so we need to prepare and ensure. Emmanuel, welcome. I'm glad to have you around. So we are going to ensure that we have to prepare how to solve quadratic inequalities, and that is the steps you need to follow at that particular point. So we shall write our answers there for clarity. In the event maybe you are not very clear in the way you wrote your answers, this gives you another chance so that the examiner can know exactly what you got. We have question number 12. We told that this guy buys a painting for 690. This is actually 680 pounds. $680. The value of the painting increases by 4% each year. Work out the value of the painting at the end of 3 years. So this is compound interest, and we're going to say the formula we shall use here is amount is equals to principal into 1 plus r over 100 raised to power n, and P is the principal, R is the rate, and N is the duration. So A is the amount, the total amount after that particular given duration. So this the formula that calls this formula is also used for appreciation or compound interest. So in this case, our principal is 680, and then it will be 1 plus 4 over 100 raised to power 3, because we are talking of a duration of 3 years. Then we shall now substitute and put that in the calculator. Let me just put it in the calc so that we can be able to have our answer. This is going to be 680 into bracket 1 plus 4 over 100 raised to power 3. You put it like that, and then equal, that translate to, this translate to what? Yeah, if we simplify that, it's going to translate to $765 after a duration of 3 years. Basically, that's what you are going to do in that case. If you are getting value, consider liking the live, and also leave a comment in the chat section so that I can be able to know whether you are getting value and you are preparing well. Emmanuel, yes, pack it up. Great. Right, so moving to question number 13 is a question where you learn how to use sine rule and basically cosine rule and sine rule here. So we are going to work out the angle of ABD, but first we need to find the value of x, and also we need to find the angle that we are having at this given point, this angle here, theta. So we are going to use cosine rule at that point, because we are told that the angle, the area of BCD is 4 or 5. If the area is 4 or 5, it will mean that we need to use the formula area is equals to half AB sine theta, so that we can be able to find what that angle theta is equals to. Then you can multiply both sides by 2 so that we have 810, then time then we shall also say, for us to find sine, we shall divide by 810 both sides. Then we shall remain with sine theta is equals to 810, and we have 105 there. Dividing the two, we are going to get our answer as sine theta inverse of whatever we have, which is 0.5, is going to be equivalent to 30 degrees. So theta here is 30 degrees. So using 30, 45 and 36, we can be able to apply cosine rule. So with cosine rule here, we are going to say that we can be able to use cosine rule in order to find first the value of x, and then to enable us to find the angle beta. So let's first find the value of x using cosine rule. And how do we say that? We are going to say x squared is equals to 45 squared plus 36 squared minus 2 times 45 times 36 cos of 30. Yeah, so putting that in the calculator and finding the square root of this case here, we shall put everything that we have in the calculator, and working it out, we are going to get 22.7 centimeters. Yeah, 27 centimeters, not degrees, that's 20 centimeters. Yes, centimeters. So we have 27.7 here, we have 19, we have 28. So to find angle beta, we are going again to use cosine rule. So it will be 28 is equals to 19 squared plus 22.7 squared minus 2 times 19 times 22.7 cos beta. Yeah, so we are going to rearrange whatever we have here so that we can be able to simplify and then find the cos inverse of the simplified value. Let me move this so that we can be able to have enough space to write our workings. Yeah, so simplifying whatever we have, we shall have cos beta is this divided by 8 what? 862.6. Now finding the cos inverse, of course this is going to reduce to 0.5 0.09656. Then we find the cos inverse of that, which is going to translate to, let me move this a bit so that we can be able to, yeah, so which is going to translate to 84.45, 84. Yeah, right. So I think we can also write it there so that we can be able to move to the next part. And the next question is going to is a question about statistics. We are finding the range. We're going to how to find the median, interquartile range, and also how to draw cumulative frequency curves. Cumulative frequency curves. Is this for year 11 GCSE? This is for year 11 IGCSE. For GCSE, that is Alvaski. Alvaski year 11 GCSE will be up tomorrow. So tomorrow, join us. Alvaski. This is IGCSE for the international students who are outside the UK. So tomorrow we have GCSE 2H, and then we shall also have 2F. Yeah, so Alvaski, that is it. So we shall be having GCSE tomorrow. This is Igcse Edexcel for the international students. Remember to like, remember to share, remember to also subscribe. Moving further to the next part. So in order to draw the ogive curve, you can see we are provided with what? We are provided with the cumulative frequency. So we are not going to sum the frequency to get the cumulative frequency. Our work is just to plot. So the first point is 17, 5, we move up to 17. And then we have at 10, we move up to 32. At 10, we move up to 32. At 15, we move up to 57, up to 57 is there. Then we have all the way to 70. And the last one is 30. We move up to 80. Move up to 80 is here. Then from here, we can be able to draw a curve like that. And that becomes our cumulative frequency curve. Let me just zoom it so that we can be able to see how that curve looks like. So if you want to find the midpoint, or sorry, if you want to find the median, you are going to take the total cumulative frequency was basically was 80. So if you want to find the median is 80 divided by 2, then you go on the axis on the cumulative frequency part at 40, because 80 divided by 2 is 40. So you go across at 40, and then you check where it meets the lines, and then you go down and read at this given point. So this is going to give us the median, and the median in that case we can be able to see is 12.5. That's the median. So you go total cumulative that you will have in that particular graph, then divide by 2, you go across where it meets the graph, and then read down there. That is going, for this case, 12.5. And the next question, use your graph to estimate the interquartile range. Interquartile range, remember, is actually the upper quartile minus the lower quartile. So which means that we are going to find the upper quartile, we find also the lower quartile. So let's start with the lower quartile. The median is at 40, so the half of 40 is going to give us where the lower quartile is going to be. So 40 divided by 2 is going to be 20. We go across, and then where we meet the line, we go and read at this given point down here. Yeah, So we read this point. If you read it, it's basically 6. And for upper quartile, the middle point between 40 and 80 is actually 60. So between the midpoint between 80 and 40 is 60. So that's going to be this point, and that's going to be around 16. So our answer is going to be 16, upper quartile minus the lower quartile, which is 6, and that's going to be 10. Yeah, so that's what we are going to do in order to get our there. Yeah, so let me just try to zoom. For office B, the median distance work travel from home to work is 15 kilometers. The other one, the median we got, it was 12. So the median is here is more, and the interquartile range is 15. So use the information above to compare the distances that the workers office A and B travels from home. So we can be able to write the two comparisons, and we're going to say the first comparison is that the median of A or the median of B is more. Yeah, so you can say here that office B has a higher median than office A. And then we can also say workers office B tend to travel further than workers of office A, right? Then we talked about inverse proportion. Also, we need to understand how to work out question with direct proportion. You are told that Q is directly proportional to the square root of D. Is directly proportional to the square root of D. That's great, Alfaski. Thank you for that feedback. Shall keep on moving on. So now Q is directly proportional to the square root of D. So how do you write that? We are going to introduce a constant, isn't it? So that we are going to say Q equals to a constant K square root D. Because it's directly proportional, we are not going to say 1 over. If it's inversely, we say K over whatever quantity that you're being told. And this is going to be now, because we are told that Q is 4.5, so we shall say 4.5 is equals to K root 324, so that we can be able to find the exact value of K. And if you work it out, the value of K here is going to be 1 over 4, which is 0.25. Yeah. And then Q, now that the formula that we were supposed to come up with in this case. So some other time they may give you Q, and they are supposed to you are supposed to find the value of D, or they may give you D, you are supposed to find the value of Q. So in that case, what you're going to do is to use the formula that you have obtained in order to substitute into the formula in order to proceed and get that. So the most important part is to come up with the formula that we have written at this given point. The next area is factorization, and also using that factorization in order to solve a quadratic equation. So we are going to use sum and product rule in order to work out this, because we are having the sum 9 and the product to be negative 22. So the numbers are going to be 11 and negative what? Negative 2. So we are going to write the middle term of that expression in terms of the two numbers 11 and negative 2, so that we can be able to group them into 2, so that we can be able to factor out what's common. Then this is going to be x plus 11 and x minus 2. So that is the factorized form of this particular expression. But you can see in Roman 2, the expression that we have factorized in the previous part is the one that is equated to 0. So we are going to take whatever we have factorized above there, we equate it to 0. Then we shall say x plus 11 is equals to 0. Then we can be able to find the value of x to be negative 11. And also we shall say x minus 2 is equals to 0. And then making x the subject will be x is equals to 2. And those are the solution of that quadratic equation after you have factorized. So we believe an area whereby you are supposed to apply that formula, you can be able to use this kind of equation. Then we have transformation of functions. Whenever a change is happening outside the bracket, only the y coordinates are going to be affected. You can see now we are having a coordinate of a to be negative 3, 2. So we are supposed to find the coordinate after the function f of x is transformed by subtracting, saying y is equals to f of x minus 3. So which means that we are going to affect only the y coordinate, because that change 3 is not subtracted inside the bracket, it's outside the bracket. So we are going to have minus 3 the way it is. So we shall have the coordinate of a to be minus 3, and then it will be now 2. So the coordinate after the transformation will be minus 3. The y coordinates is going to remain the way it is, but for the x coordinate is going to remain the way it is, so we shall have minus 3, but the y coordinate, which is 2, we shall say 2 minus 3, and that's going to be negative 1. But if you can look at this Roman 2, the transformation is y is equals to f of x over 2. Whenever the function, the change is inside the bracket, you do opposite of what the function is saying. The function is saying there x over 2. So you are going to go to the x coordinate, you multiply 2, opposite of what was done there. So that's going to be 2 times negative 3, that's going to be negative 6. But the y coordinate is not going to be affected because the change is inside the bracket. Yeah, so basically that's what we're going to have. And you can see in part B, we are supposed to find the coordinate of B, which is PQ, after the transformation negative G, negative, you can see that negative is outside the bracket, so that negative is going to affect only the y coordinates, so it's going to be negative Q. After the transformation, it will be negative Q. And inside the bracket, we have x minus c. So the change will be, for the x coordinate, if it's subtracted, you do the opposite. So it's going to be p plus c. So the coordinate after the transformation will be p plus c, comma, negative q. Yes. So this is the coordinate after the transformation. All right, so moving to calculus, we have a particle that moves along a straight line that passes through a fixed point O. The displacement of P from O at the time t is where t is greater than 0 is given by x is equals to, that's the displacement equation formula, or the displacement formula is given as x is equals to 4t squared minus 27t plus 8. The direction of P reverses at point A. So if the direction reverses at point A, it means that at point A there is the turning point, so which means that the gradient at point A is going to be equals to 0, or the velocity at that given point, because if it's reversing, it means if it's going this direction like that, then it reaches that point, it's going to turn. So if it's going to turn, then it will have a moment or momentarily at rest at the turning point, right? And then it will reverse the direction. So velocity at the turning point is going to be 0. So if we are doing dx dt is going to be 0 at point A because it's turning. That's where the direction is actually reversing. Yeah, so we are supposed to find the value of acceleration. And of course, for you to find acceleration is dv dt. You are going to differentiate the velocity function to get acceleration. If you want velocity, you differentiate the displacement function. So in this case, we are supposed to say x is equals to 4t squared minus 27t plus 8. So if we want v, we are going to say v is going to be dx dt. So we are going to differentiate the expression or the function that we have in here, and that is going to be what? 8. That is this is basically, this is 3. The power is cubed. So the power is cubed. I was not seeing that. So the ice. Yeah, so it's power 3. So we are going to take the power down. So it will be 4 times 3, which is 12. And the power decreases by 1. So it will be power 2 minus 27. And then if we want acceleration, we're going to find dv dA. I know you cannot be able to see that. dv dt. dv dt in that case is going to be 24t. If you differentiate v, you're going to get acceleration. So it will be 24t. But we were told that at that point, it reverses. So we are going to take this expression, v is equals to 0. We equate v equals to 12t squared minus 27. We equate it to 0. And then we are going to be able to know what is the value of t at this given point. So it will be 12t squared minus 27 equals to 0. So it shall take 27 on the other side, and we shall divide by 12 both sides, find the square root, and then our t is going to translate to 3 over 2. Our t is going to be 3 over 2. So which means that at that point of acceleration, we shall say 24t. So it will be 24 times 3 over 2, which is 1.5. Also in terms of a decimal, it will be 1.5 times 24. And if we substitute that, we are going to get our answers to 36 meters per second square as the acceleration. In that case, as the acceleration. The function f of x plus 3x squared minus 12x plus 7, where x is less than 2, express the inverse function. So the first thing, we are going to complete the square. So in order to make a quadratic, find the inverse of a quadratic, first you have to complete the square. And to complete the square in this case, we are going to factor out 3. We remain with x squared minus 4x plus 7. Then we shall complete whatever that is inside the bracket. So it will be 3 into brackets x minus a half of 4 is 2. So it will be x minus 2 squared minus the square of 2 is 4, then plus 7. So if we open the bracket that we have here, we are going to translate that, and it will be 3 into x minus 2 squared minus, is it minus 5? Yes. Now, in the process of finding the inverse, remember, you change f of x to y, and our completed square form is there. Then we can now switch x and y. Where we have x, we write y. Where we have y, we write x. And that is going to translate to x is equals to 3 into, sorry, this is going to be y minus 2 squared minus 5. Then we're going to strive now at this given point to make y the subject of the formula in this case. And if you try to make y of the subject of the formula, this is what we are going to have, divide by 3. And we shall find the square root to remove the square that was there, so that we can take also the 2 on the other side, we shall have y is equals to 2 plus or minus square root of that. A function is a one, for a function to have a inverse, it must be a one-to-one function. So whatever we have here is not a one-to-one function because having plus or minus. So we have to decide which sign are we going to take. But I'll take you back to this particular part here. Whatever we are having here is called the domain. Now the domain of the function becomes the range of the inverse. So the range of the inverse is going to be y is less than or equals to 2, because the domain here is x is less than 2. So the range of the inverse is going to be y less than 2 or equal to 2. So if you look at that, what sign should we have so that we can have y is less than 2 or equal to 2? We shall have minus, because if you add something to 2, you will have more than 2, and we want less than 2. So we shall, the range is going to be y less than 2. So we shall say f inverse of x is 2 minus square root of x plus 5 over 3. So basically that's what we are going to do in order to have our inverse of the function there. So basically that's what we have as our inverse function. Next, you need to also practice on how to draw graphs, and for you to draw the graph effectively, you have to fill the table and complete the table properly in order to earn those 2 marks. Then once you have completed the table, you plot the points. We can be able to plot different points. You move up and you can see that point will be there, and this one here, and then this other point will be here. Then once you have done that, you are going to draw a smooth curve like that, joining like that. So we have a parabola that way, and this is the quadratic graph that was expected. So sometimes if they ask you to find the solution of this graph that they want us to find, the solution is where the graph cuts the x-axis. The roots for this is the point where the graph cuts the x-axis. So if they ask you, it is around negative 1.5 and this around 2.5. So those are the roots for that particular graph. And sometimes questions like this can be asked. We are told that we have bank G and we have bank H, which all offer different percentage of interest. The first one is it offers a percentage interest of 1.6 per year compound interest, and H has 2.9% interest added 2 years. So your money is going to stay in the bank for 2 years. At the end of the 2 years, you're going to have 2.9 interest of the amount that you invested. So at the end of 2 years, which bank has more and by how much? So that is the part we are going to work out after this guy has invested 5,000 Swiss francs for 2 years. So we're going to work out for the compound interest here. We're going to say amount after amount for bank G. Amount is going to be P into 1 or over 100 raised to power n, but this is 2 years, so it will be 5,000 into 1 plus 1.5 over 100. Also it will be 1.6, not 1.5, 1.6. So if we put in our calculator, we're gonna get our answer equivalent to what? Equivalent to 5,161. And this one will be after 2 years, interest will be that, yeah, that will be the interest, and that's 145. So we need to know the interest for bank G will be 5,161 minus the 5,000 that was invested, so that we know the interest for bank G, and already we have the interest for H, so we are not worried about that. We need to work out the interest gained by bank G. This is going to be 5,161. We subtract 5,000. So that's the interest. So we shall have 161 minus 145. So I can say G had 16 Swiss francs more than that. More than that. Yeah, so basically we need also to know how to find the interquartile range for data like this one. So we shall identify the median, which is going to be, the median is going to be 8. This is the median, 8, and the lower quartile will be 2 here, lower quartile, and the upper quartile is going to be 11. So interquartile range is going to be, the interquartile range here is going to be 11 minus 2, and that is going to translate to 9. Yeah, so we are also told that Kim plays 11 tennis matches. Yeah, and the median of the number of is 11, and the interquartile range is 15. So we are trying to compare. When you have set of data, you have a larger median, because the previous median was 8, and the interquartile range here for Kim is 5, but previously that one was what, 9. So we are supposed to state, giving reasons, whether Ralja or Kim, who served more access on average. So we are going to say this is going to be what, because the median here is 8 and here is 5. So we are going to say that just write it, it's Kim, since she has a higher median. Kim has a higher median, so it served more access on average, and the more consistent is going to be what, Kim. Why? Because of the smaller interquartile range. All right, so the next part is to work out mean. Remember, mean of data is going to be sum of fx over total frequency. So in this case, we're going to create a column at this given point. We shall have one column at this point here, and we shall say fx. So 0 times 13 will be 0. This will be 17. This is going to be 16, and this will be 3x, and this 44. So if we add the two, we're going to say mean is equal to f of x over summation of f. So the mean we are told is 2, so we shall say 2 is equal to what? Summation of f is going to be 49 plus x, and summation of f of x is going to translate to what? It's going to be 71, so it's 77 plus 3x. Then we can be able to say 2 equals to 77 plus 3x over 49 over x. We can multiply the denominator both sides. Then we put the like terms together, solve for x. Putting the like terms together, we shall have 98 minus 77 is equals to x. Yeah, so this is going to be 21 is equals to x. X is equals to 21. And actually this now marks the end of this particular live. I believe you've learned on how to work out some of the questions here. So if you want to access the PDF of whatever I was showing here, check it in the Patreon page so that you can be able to access the PDF.